Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're really getting into some fascinating material, trying to pull out those insights that truly make a difference. And we're tackling a question that I think probably resonates with almost everyone listening. Why is it that most people, they have these ambitions, these big dreams and desires for more, but ultimately they kind of struggle to actually achieve their goals? Our deep dive today is centered around this really powerful, sometimes quite blunt article. It's titled "The Brutal Truth About Why Most People Fail." And it offers a pretty provocative look at, let's face it, a challenging subject. What really jumps out is its core idea, its premise. It suggests failure isn't mainly, about lack of opportunity or bad luck or even not having enough talent. No, it points to something much more internal, something like self-sabotage. So our mission here in this deep dive is to unpack the 6 sort of core reasons that this article identifies. We're aiming to give you some insights, hopefully, into how you might recognize these common traps, maybe in your own life.
And maybe more importantly, how to start navigating your way out of them. So let's dig in.
It's definitely a compelling place to start, isn't it? The article, it really sets the stage well. It highlights this universal human thing wanting more. Whether it's more money, more happiness, freedom, respect, whatever it is for you. And yet, it contrasts that so starkly with the reality for a lot of people, which is often, debt, regrets, and just a constant stream of excuses for why things aren't happening.
That shift, though, from blaming, say, external things to looking at self-sabotage, that's quite a leap. It's challenging. Why do you think that idea is such a tough pill for people to swallow sometimes?
Well, I think it's because it forces you to look inward, right? It demands personal accountability. It kind of takes away the easy option of just blaming circumstances or other people. The article suggests that this inward look, that's exactly where the possibility for real change opens up. It's about recognizing that often the biggest roadblock, well, it's looking back at you in the mirror.
That's a really profound point. Okay, so let's dive into the first of these 6 reasons the article highlights. Reason number 1, fear of rejection. The article calls it the silent killer of dreams. And the core idea basically is that this intense fear, the fear of being told no or laughed at, maybe criticized or even just ignored, it's so terrifying for people that it literally stops more dreams dead in their tracks than actual failure ever does.
And what's really key here is how this fear actually plays out. People just don't start. They don't even take the first step. So they won't apply for that job they really want, or they shy away from launching that business idea, or, maybe they don't publish their writing or even approach someone they're interested in. It's all because of this invisible wall of fear. And the article makes such a crucial point here. Rejection itself, it's never fatal. It's feedback.
That's a powerful way to reframe it, but it feels so visceral, doesn't it? Why is it so hard for us to just accept it as feedback?
It really does feel primal. The article doesn't go super deep into the biology of it, but it does touch on how we're sort of conditioned. Culturally, we're often taught failure is this terrible thing to be avoided, when in reality, it's part of learning. It's essential, actually. And the examples the article gives, they really hit this home. I mean, J.K. Rowling, right? Harry Potter, rejected by 12 publishers. Imagine. Colonel Sanders, over 1,000 rejections before KFC got going. Even Walt Disney fired from a newspaper. Can you believe it? For lacking imagination. Just think if they'd let that initial no stop them completely.
Wow. Yeah, it really makes you pause and think, what dreams, what aspirations might you be holding back right now just because of this silent fear? Okay, so beyond that fear of no, there's another big saboteur the article talks about, something I think we can all relate to probably, endless procrastination. Calls it the thief of time.
Yeah.
And it's not just framed as a bad habit. It's presented as this silent, almost addictive trap.
Yeah, and the stats the article pulls out are pretty sobering, actually. Some studies suggest the average person might waste over 21 hours a week procrastinating. Now, think about that over a year. That's over 1,000 hours. Gone. If you really connect that to the bigger picture, imagine the businesses you could start, the books you could write, skills you could learn, or even just relationships you could build with that kind of time. That's immense potential just slipping away.
That really is a stark way to put it. 1,000 hours. And the article argues, look, this isn't usually just laziness. Often procrastination is fear wearing a disguise. It could be fear of failing, sure, but also fear of success, believe it or not, or just fear of the unknown, of starting something new.
Right. It's almost like using a credit card, isn't it? You get that little bit of relief now by putting it off, but you end up paying a much bigger price later on with interest. All those lost hours, lost opportunities.
It really forces you to consider, what could you be achieving with that time? Okay, that leads us pretty naturally into reason number 3, lack of clarity. The article describes this as trying to run without knowing where the finish line is. It points out that most people, well, they have these really vague desires, things like, I want to be successful, or I just want to be happy. And kind of predictably, vague goals just lead to vague results. Or no results.
Exactly. And this prompts a really important question for you, the listener. Do you know precisely what you want? Not just sort of, but exactly. The article uses this great analogy. Imagine trying to run a marathon, but there's no marked finish line anywhere. You just keep going until you collapsed, right?
Yeah.
Without ever feeling like you actually achieved the goal. Your brain, it says, is like a sophisticated guidance system, like for a missile. It needs specific coordinates, specific targets. If you don't give it those clear, defined goals, it just kind of drifts.
And here's the really dark truth, as the article puts it. If you don't define your own goals, guess what? You'll end up spending your life working to achieve someone else's.
Yeah, your boss's goals, your company's goals, maybe even just conforming to what society expects. They all have their own clarity, and they'll happily use your time and energy to get their stuff done while you're left feeling kind of confused and adrift.
So the question back too is, are your goals specific enough to actually guide your actions? Or are they still fuzzy? Moving on to reason number 4, and this is a big one, fear of change. The article makes this really powerful statement. Comfort is the deadliest prison. I mean, our brains, fundamentally, they're wired to avoid risk, right? That's just survival instinct. So change naturally feels scary. It feels risky. But paradoxically, the article argues that the most dangerous place you can be is actually right inside your comfort zone.
It's incredible how much potential gets smothered by this fear. The article gives examples, like people staying in jobs they genuinely hate for years, sometimes decades, just clinging to that feeling of security even if the job is draining their soul, or avoiding moving to a new city, or turning down a great opportunity, or just sticking with old, maybe destructive habits. All because it's familiar, it's comfortable. But here's the brutal fact it lays out. Nothing worthwhile grows in the comfort zone. Zero. Real growth, progress. It only happens when you push yourself, when you feel a bit uncomfortable. The article insists that the biggest rewards, the things you really want, they almost always lie just on the other side of that fear.
Makes you think, doesn't it? What comfortable but ultimately limiting situations might you be clinging on to right now? Okay, so beyond being stuck in comfort zones, there's another major hurdle. Reason number 5. Impatience. The article links this to what it calls the fast food mindset of modern success. And you see it everywhere, right? We live in this culture of instant gratification. 2-day delivery, 60-second videos, drive through everything. We're just conditioned to expect results now.
Exactly. But true success, the kind that lasts, the article argues, well, it's usually slow. It's often repetitive. Honestly, it can be kind of boring day to day. It requires years, literally years of consistent effort, not just a few weeks or months of enthusiasm. And this impatience directly leads to most people quitting way too soon. The article uses this great image, quitting at the 2-yard line just before the touchdown.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Think about it. Someone starts a business, and after 6 months, if they're not seeing huge profits, they just ditch it.
Yeah.
Or they join a gym, go hard for 3 weeks, don't see massive changes, and just stop going.
Happens all the time.
All the time. And here's a sobering reality check from the piece. It takes, on average, something like 10 years to become an overnight success. That musician you just discovered, that entrepreneur everyone's talking about, chances are they've been grinding away, probably failing multiple times for a decade or more before you ever even heard their name.
It's such a crucial reminder. Perseverance, that staying power, it's the key ingredient that so many people just overlook, not speed. Okay, and that brings us to the final point. Reason number 6. Lack of the right information, or maybe drowning in the wrong information. We live, undeniably, in the information age. Knowledge seems to be everywhere. You can look up anything. And yet, the article suggests people seem more confused, more lost than ever. Why is that?
Well, it argues that a lot of the information people consume is, to put it bluntly, like the article does, it's garbage.
Yeah.
We're talking about, the constant noise from fake gurus, promising secrets, clickbait articles, misleading shortcuts, all this stuff that promises quick fixes but doesn't deliver any real substance.
So people end up chasing shiny objects.
Exactly. Instead of focusing on and mastering the fundamentals, which are often less exciting. And here's a really profound insight from the article. Just having information doesn't mean transformation happened. It doesn't equal change. You could read 1,000 self-help books, right? But if you don't actually apply any of it, nothing in your life changes. In
Yeah.
fact, sometimes consuming too much information without taking action just leads to like analysis paralysis. You just overthink everything and do nothing. It's this huge irony. We're in the most connected, supposedly informed era ever, yet so many people feel lost because they collect all this knowledge, but they never actually use it.
So the challenge isn't just finding information, it's filtering it, and then crucially acting on the right information. Okay, so after laying out these 6 pretty heavy reasons, the article delivers what it calls the final blow. And it states really clearly, success isn't actually rare. What's rare is discipline. Opportunities, it argues, are genuinely abundant today, more than ever, probably. You can learn almost any skill online, often for free. You can start a business from your kitchen table, connect with anyone, anywhere. The doors are open.
Yeah, and if you connect that back to everything we've discussed, it means that while basically everyone says they want success,
Yeah.
very, very few are actually willing to sacrifice their comfort to get it. Everyone wants the results, right? But hardly anyone is willing to consistently do those, often boring, repetitive actions day in and day out.
Yeah.
Everyone talks about wanting freedom, but few are willing to pay the real price, which is consistent effort and disciplined choices over the long haul. The formula for success, the article implies, it's sitting right there. It's clarity plus discipline plus courage plus patience. It sounds almost too simple, but it's incredibly hard to execute consistently. It's simple, but definitely not easy.
And that really is the core message the article seems to leave us with.
Yeah.
If you hear these 6 reasons, fear of rejection, procrastination, lack of clarity, fear of change, impatience, drowning in bad info, if you recognize yourself in any, or maybe even all of them, the good news is it's not too late to change course.
Not at all. Awareness, just recognizing it, that's always the first crucial step. And then, of course, comes the action. Deliberate, consistent action is what has to follow.
The world, as the article puts it so well, it doesn't really need more dreamers just dreaming. It needs doers. And maybe the powerful, kind of provocative thought for you to take away from this deep dive is this. You probably already have everything you need inside you to succeed. The potential is there.
Yeah, the real challenge is just escaping these traps, the same traps that, unfortunately, seem to derail most people.
So remember the final line or the sentiment, you have one life, one shot at this. Don't waste it.